Baruch atah Asherah anat melecha alam asher kiddushani mitzvotav v'tzivani li tativ latzitzit. Thanks, TD Gus. Good morning. How are you? Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. Good morning, my friend. How are you? It's nice to see you. Vahafta et anat Elohecha uv'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'chayu hadavarim ha'ele asher nochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'vitecha v'lechtecha chavaderch uv'shachbecha uv'komecha וקשרתם לאהוד על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בניניך, וכתבתכם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך. וחיה, כי יחיה אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר נתבע לבתיך לאברהם ישכח אל יעקב, לתת לך ערים גדולות וטובות אשר לא בנית, ובתים מלאים כל טובה אשר לא מילאת, וברות הצבים אשר לא עשת, והגרים וזדים אשר נתת, והלכת ושבת הישמר לך, פן תשכח את יהוה אשר תשכחה מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים. I'm American, Lindsay. It's nice to see you, Shawty the Pug. My tattoo is healing quite nicely. It's nearly there. The ink is still a little bit raised on the skin, but and there's a little bit of peeling still. So yeah, it remains an injury, but it doesn't hurt. It's just, very marginally inflamed, but I'm quite pleased with that. What was I reciting? What an excellent question, Hannah. So the prayer is called the Shema. Shema means listen. And the meaning of the prayer asks you to repeat the prayer. Right? Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Listen, Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh is one, Echad, one. All the gods are one. Yahweh and Eloheinu, they're the same God. And you shall love Yahweh Eloheinu with all your heart and all your soul and all your might. And these words, which I repeat to you today, teach them to your children, or in this case, your minute following on TikTok. Recite them when you wake up in the morning and when you go to bed at night, as you do. It is Hebrew, Shadi. Hey, Jenna. And you shall bind them as a symbol on your hand, and let them serve as a sign on your forehead, and inscribe them on the doorposts of your houses and on your gates. All is one, right? Of all of the living things that ever existed, we are all connected at the root. And, here's the corollary. When Yahweh Eloheinu brings you into land that he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to assign to you, great and flourishing cities that you did not fill, houses full of all good things that you did not build, hewn cisterns that you did not hew, vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant, and you eat your fill. Take heed that you do not forget Yahweh, who freed you from the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. It's nice to meet you, Hannah. Welcome here. I hope you stick around. So we will read very, very briefly, oh so briefly, from the Epic of Gilgamesh. Where we left off, Gilgamesh was having an argument with an innkeeper at the end of the world. Right? Where's the innkeeper? Here she is. Gilgamesh was arguing with the innkeeper at the end of the world. Gilgamesh says, I seek Upnapishtim for immortal life. Life that never ends. And the innkeeper at the end of the world says, this is foolish. Don't ask for such a thing. Right? The tavern keeper said to him, to Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh, there has never been such a place to cross. There has never been no one from the dawn of time who could ever cross this sea. The valiant Shamhash alone could cross this sea. Save for the sun, who could cross this sea? The crossing is perilous, highly perilous the course, and midway lie the waters of death, whose surface is impassable. Suppose, Gilgamesh, you do cross the sea. When you reach the waters of death, what will you do? Yet, Gilgamesh, there is Ur-Shanabi, Upnapishtim's boatman. He has the stone charms. With him, as he trims pine trees in the forest. Go, show yourself to him. If possible, cross with him. If not, then turn back. So, at this advice, Gilgamesh advances without preamble and attacks Ur-Shanabi and smashes the stone charms. Ur-Shanabi tells Gilgamesh that the stone charms were needed to cross the waters of death. Gilgamesh, you are so headstrong. You make so many mistakes. It's really counterproductive, right? Why did you kill the Bull of Heaven? If you hadn't killed the Bull of Heaven, Enkidu would still be alive. Why did you spurn Ishtar? If you hadn't spurned Ishtar, you'd be having incredible sex with the goddess of war. And dead. But no. Instead, you spurned Ishtar, you killed the Bull of Heaven, your friend died, and now you're in a depressive state, seeking eternal life, brashly destroying the stone charms. So, Ur-Shanabi tells Gilgamesh that the stone charms were needed to cross the waters of death, and the nature of these objects has never been satisfactorily explained, says our translator. Although some scholars suggest that they were anchors, or counterweights. A Hittite version of this text, interesting, see page 164, calls them images, so they may have been magic amulets that warded off the waters of death. So, when Gilgamesh heard this, he raised his axe at his side, he drew the sword at his belt, he crept forward, went down towards them, like an arrow he dropped among them. His battle cry resounded in the forest. When Ur-Shanabi saw the shining, he raised his axe, he trembled before him, but he, for his part, struck his head. Gilgamesh seized his arm, his chest, and the stone charms, the protection of the boat, without which no one crosses the waters of death. He smashed them, and threw them into the broad sea. Into the channel he threw them. With his own hands he foiled them. His own hands foiled him. He smashed them. He threw them into the channel, the boat, and he to the bank. Terrible. Why would you do something like this? Really quite terrible. An older version preserves the following, in which Sur-Shanabu is another form of the name Ur-Shanabi. He turned back and stood before him. Sur-Sunabu stared at him. Sur-Sunabu said to him, to Gilgamesh, "What is your name, pray tell? I am Sur-Sunabu, the servant of Upnapishtim, the distant one." Gilgamesh said to him, to Sur-Sunabu, Gilgamesh is my name. I am he who came from Uruk, the abode of Anu, who traveled here around the mountains, a distant road where the sun comes forth. Now that I have seen your face, Surshtunabu, show me Upnapishtim, the distant one. But you just destroyed his boat. Why is he going to do that? And Urshanabi said to him, to Gilgamesh, why are your cheeks emaciated, your face cast down, your heart wretched, your features wasted? Woe in your vitals, your face is like a traveler's from afar, your features cold, weathered by the sun. Why are you clad in a lion's skin, roaming the steppe? And Gilgamesh said to him, to Urshanabi, my cheeks would not be emaciated, nor my face cast down, nor my heart wretched, nor my features wasted, nor would there be woe in my vitals. Nor would my face be like a traveler's from afar, nor would my features be weathered by cold and sun, nor would I be clad like a lion in a lion's skin roaming the steppe, but for my friend, swift, wild donkey, mountain onager, panther of the steppe, but for Enkidu, my friend, swift wild donkey, mountain onager, panther of the steppe, he who stood by me as we ascended the mountain, seized and killed the bull that came down from heaven, felled Humbaba, who dwelt in the forest of cedars, killed lions at the mountain passes, my friend, whom I so loved, who went with me through every hardship, Gilgamesh, no, Enkidu, Enkidu, whom I so loved, who went with me through every hardship. The fate of mankind has overtaken him. 6 days and 7 nights I wept for him. I would not give him up for burial until a worm fell out of his nose. I was frightened. I have grown afraid of death. So I roam the steppe. My friend's case grows heavy upon me. A distant road I roam over the steppe. My friend Enkidu's case weighs heavy upon me. A distant road I roam over the steppe. How can I be silent? How can I hold my peace? My friend whom I loved is turned into clay. Enkidu, my friend whom I loved, is turned into clay. Shall I too not lie down like him? Excuse me. And never get up forever and ever? Thank you. How much longer do we have in this dialogue? Gilgamesh then said to him, It's Gilgamesh, Jasmine. It was answered in the chat. Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is the answer. Gilgamesh, the epic hero. Gilgamesh said to him, to Urshanabi, now then, Urshanabi, what is the way to Upnapishtim? What are the signs? Give them to me. Give me its signs. If need be, I'll cross the sea. If not, I'll roam the steppe. And Urshanabi said to him, to Gilgamesh, your own hands have foiled you, Gilgamesh. You've smashed stone charms. You've thrown them into the channel. The stone charms are smashed. The stone charms, Gilgamesh, are what carry me, lest I touch the water of death. In your fury, you have smashed them. The stone charms, they're what I had with me to make the crossing. So, yeah, we're pretty deep in. We're about halfway through. Gilgamesh was the name of an ancient king from the city of Uruk in Sumer. Sumer and Akkad. Well, really just Sumer. It's the oldest story in the world, Jasmine. This story is the oldest story that we have written down in text, written down in ancient Akkadian. Although this translator takes from multiple versions. Yeah, seems like an angry dude who keeps ruining shit for himself. Yeah, reminds me a lot of me. It's time to conclude. I have to go in 10 minutes. But there's just enough time for Arati and then Kaddish, a prayer of grief. Don't we all? We all do that sometimes. Good morning, Julianne. How are you? Thank you for the rose, Allie. Hi, Teen Mom. How you doing? I hope all's well. There's my alarm. It's time to go. So, we'll say Arati, and then Kaddish, and then conclude until tomorrow. The word Arati means flame in Sanskrit. I hope you have a nice day too. Jaya Jaya Arati Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jaya Jaya Arati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jaya Jayartiya Venugopala Venugopala Venuola Papa Vidura Navanita Chora Jaya Jayarti Venkantaramana Venkantaramana Sankatarana Sitarama Radhe Shama Jaya Jayarti Gauri Manohara Gauri Manohara Bhavani Sankara Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara Jaya Jayarti Raja Rajeshwari Raja Rajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti Jaya Jayarti Anjaneya Anjaneya Hanumanta Jaya Jayarti Dattatreya Dattatreya Trimutriya Vatara Jaya Jayarti Adityaya Adityaya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jayarti Sanistaraya Sanistaraya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jayarti Sankarachaya Sankarachaya Advaita Grave Jaya Jayarti Sadgurunata Sadgurunata Shivananda Jaya Jayarti Vishnudevananda 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 Jaya Jayarti Agastya Munaye Agastya Munaye Shriyama Priyaye Jaya Jayarti Ayapa Samine Ayapa Samine Dharma Shastave Jaya Jayarti Jesus Grave Moses Grave Buddha Grave Jaya Jayarti Muhammad Grave Guru Nanak Grave Samastya Grubho Namaha Jaya Jayarti Avanugopala Natatrasya Bhati Natandrakaratam Nimavadya Bhati Kutoyamakni Tameva Bantam Bandi Sarvam Tasya Basya Samridam Vivanti Om Gange Kayamane Kaiva Govari Saraswati Narmade Siddhika Verihiya Namastitam Namo Namaha Tvameva Mata Chapita Tameva Tvameva Bandusha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Javinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Kayena Vacha Manasendriya Irva Buddhyatmanava Prakrite Sabhavad Karomyadyad Sakalam Parasmahi Narayana Hiti Sarmar Payami Sarvajamam Pravichaya Mamikam Sarvadam Vrija Am Sva Sarvapapayo Mokshayami Masucha Whatever actions I perform with my body, speech, mind, senses, my nature, my intellect, my emotions, my ramen noodle hair, all these I dedicate to you. Thanks for being here with me today. Thanks, Batya. Thanks, Mr. Jacob Toe. Not dark magic, Avery, although it might be dark and it might be magic. Difficult to say. Depends on how you define magic and darkness. But we're here together nonetheless, no matter how you define it. We're definitely here, and we're definitely together. For a little while longer. For one more prayer. King Troll Slayer, that makes no sense. Mr. Jacob Toe, that's flirting with a line that I'm not sure you should be flirting with. We have one more prayer before we conclude today. One more prayer. It's called the Mourner's Kaddish, and we say it to mourn, to grief. So we say this prayer to remember what we were, that are no longer, and what we wish to be, that we are not. Thanks, Pamela. I'm pleased with it, too. You saw that video? So we say the prayer to remember that suffering is an inexorable, inescapable part of life. Right? And for every creature that has lived on this grand tree, here, or anywhere else that you might find living things. Every single one of them has suffered. And so we say Kaddish for them all. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shema Rabbah b'yalma difrachiyute v'yamlich malchute b'chayachon v'yamechon v'chayed kol beit Yisrael b'agala v'zman kariv v'yamru. Amen. Yehi Shema Rabbah mevarach li'alam amei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yirmam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shema d'kudesha barechu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tush birchata v'nechemata d'yamiran b'yalma v'yamru. Amen. Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu V'yachol Yisrael V'imru. Amin. Ose Shalom B'imramav. Huya Ase Shalom Aleinu V'yachol Yisrael V'imru. Amin. Ose Shalom B'imramav. Huya Ase Shalom Aleinu V'yachol Yisrael V'imru. V'imru. Amen. Good morning, Aaron, I'm sorry. The trolls have got to me, and I'm thinking about dead names, or former names. If you really want to figure out what my dead name was, just go back in my archive. It's really not that hard to figure out. But it doesn't matter. How are you doing today, Aaron? So that's it. We conclude. That's it for today. I'll be back here tomorrow to say these words once more. Yeah, well, if no one killed Jesus, how would he have returned? If he hadn't returned, then there wouldn't be Christianity, you know? You recently wrote about me? Really? For an essay? That's really touching to hear. What was the essay about? I have to go. I have therapy in 2 minutes. But I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be here same time, same place. So I hope to see you again. And if you want to chat further, I'd love to read your essay. It was about food salvage. Yes! Yes, there is a way for you to send it to me. So check out the link in my bio, Aaron. And there's it's Koji with Koji. And you'll find there a link to my Discord server, an invite link to my Discord server. You can join the Discord server, and we can chat on there. I would love to read the essay. I would absolutely love to read it. Yeah. So great. It was lovely to meet you. And I will see you here tomorrow. Good morning, Emily. I have to run. I have to go right now, this moment. But it's really nice to see you too. I'll be here tomorrow in 24 hours to say these words with you again, okay? Until then, have a lovely day. Farewell.